4 financial goals to take your plans to the next level. If you're looking for a simple solution on how to direct your finances, this is the video that you want to watch. Hi everybody, I'm Tremaine from Mind Over Money Education. I'm going to be sharing 4 tips with you today on what you should be doing to keep your financial goals simple, but make sure they're in alignment with where you need to be going, moving towards the future. So we have our first goal, financial goal number 1. What do you think it is? You guessed it. You need to have some sort of saving strategy or investment strategy in place. We've heard the statistics, less than half of the population has $400 in their savings account. And so if you find yourself in this predicament, you are not alone. So what can you do to change that? Get a solid savings strategy in place to change your financial outlook. Ways that you can do this. Well, first you want to identify how much do I need in my savings? The common place to start is to make sure you have 3 to 6 months living expenses in a savings account, a place where you can access it easily, right? Now, what does that look like? 3 to 6 months living expenses. You have to understand a little bit about your numbers. How much does it cost you to live your life every month, right? Whatever that number is, you're going to multiply it by 3, and that is your starting point. You want to have at least this amount in a savings account. I would recommend some sort of high yield savings, a place where you're going to earn a little bit more interest than your traditional brick and mortar bank. So that's our first goal. If you don't already have sufficient emergency savings, enough liquid assets that you can get to it rather quickly, think in the same day, in order to cover an emergency that might arise, this is something you want to take advantage of as soon as possible. Number 2, our second goal that we want to take advantage of is making sure that we are actively increasing our income, right? We can cut our expenses as much as we want, but one of the things we really want to do is be intentional about earning more income every year. One thing to take into consideration is understanding our purchasing power and what inflation does to our income, right? How it may impact our ability to maintain our quality of life. And so one of the things we want to be sure that we're doing is outpacing inflation. Many of our employers will give us some sort of cost of living raise every year, but if we don't check to see what that looks like, it may not be enough to make sure that we're outpacing the cost of inflation, how much it's costing us to live our lives every year. So outpacing inflation, that is just the bottom. Not only do we want to outpace inflation, we want to make sure that every year our income is significantly increasing so that we can reach other financial goals that we might have. So how can I make sure that I'm outpacing inflation? Well, one, I need to know what it is. So right now we're projected to have inflation of somewhere around 7%. That's relatively high. Many employers are not giving 7% raises. They might be doing that typical 2 to 3%, right? So you want to make sure that you are being intentional about increasing your income. Ways that you can do that. Asking for a raise. Many people are afraid to ask for raises, especially for Black women. We tend to not ask for more money, even though we have a right to make what we are worth. Black women right now earn about 68% of what our white male peers are earning, and we have to do something different about that. So if you haven't gotten a raise in the last 12 months, this is something to take into consideration. You want to do that as soon as possible. Get your raise. The next way you can increase your income is to abandon the loyalty for the job that you have, right? One of the quickest ways to make more money is to jump ship to a competitor that might be in the same industry where you have qualifying credentials and earn a higher salary for doing similar work. Many women are able to increase their salaries by going to a competitor instead of trying to show their worth or prove that they deserve to be compensated more when it is pretty clear that they should be making more money. So taking your talents to another competitor is an easier way to increase your income at an accelerated rate. Another way that you increase your income is by taking on a side job. So we have a huge gig economy right now with lots of different ways to make money part-time. But the gig economy is a great way to supplement your income without having to learn lots of new skills. The last way that I'm going to talk about increasing income is to start a business. So I'm going to put an asterisk beside this, right? Because typically it takes money to make money. So if you don't know much about starting a business and you don't have a skill that you can readily turn into a source of income, this might not be one of the best options for you. It can be very, very attractive to see that many people are business owners, but if you don't have the time or talent to turn some of your skills into income, this might not be the best route for you, and it'll turn up being another expense versus a way to increase your income. So, number 2, increase your income. Number 3, this is one that you probably won't hear much about in traditional financial videos. We want to encourage you to take time to rest. Resting and recharging shows that we are able to give our body a chance to heal and that we're able to operate at our most efficient self. If I really want to show up and do my best work, it's important that I'm well rested and that my body has time to heal, recharge, recuperate from the demands of the days and all of the stress that I'm putting on my body. So one of the things you want to be very, very intentional about going into this next year is making sure that you have built in time to rest. Rest looks like different things for different people, but you know when you're at rest. So it's important that you build that time in. Take vacations when you need to take them. Be sure to block your calendar and take days off if you need to take that time off, right? We have an interesting economy where we're encouraged to hustle and overexert and to always be on call. One of the things you want to do is be intentional about setting boundaries and making sure that you don't overextend yourself. Intentional about rest, in turn, will yield a high return for you, allowing you to operate at your fullest capacity when you do decide to show up in spaces where it's time for you to generate income. And then lastly, the 4th thing that we have is making sure that you take some time to understand digital assets. With the way the technology is moving and the various opportunities that we have before us, it is critical that you at least have some idea of what is happening. This doesn't mean that you have to become an expert, but you do want to understand various ways that you can own digital assets such as cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and digital real estate that may be valuable parts of your portfolio. Places you can go to learn a little bit more about these kinds of things: Binance Research, CoinDesk, CoinMarketCap. These are different places where you can learn a little bit more about different types of digital assets and ways that you can take advantage of them. So, we recap 4 things you should be taking into consideration when you're setting your financial goals. Number 1, saving and investing if you are at a place where you have enough in your emergency savings. Number 2, making sure that you are increasing your income. Number 3, setting aside time to rest. And finally, making sure that you're becoming abreast of what's happening with digital assets and how you can look for ways to add it to your portfolio. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next one, tap that button to subscribe, and take a look at the link in the comments to make sure that you are prepared for 2022 with a dashboard that's going to help guide you.